Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to Esoteric Tea with Courtney and Lucky. I want to start off that this is all just our own personal experiences, what we've read. There's no medical advice here. We're not doing any medical advice. We're just talking about things from our own experiences and things that we've read on the internet or from our own friends and family, what their experiences are. Whew, let's start off from the beginning. Courtney, how are you doing?
I am good, Lucky. So, darling, when you yelled into the mic, it kind of started crackling a little bit. So maybe just pull the mic back some. Hi, everybody. There you go. Oh, see, it'll pick up your lovely voice just like that. Um, Happy Saturday night. Um, you know what, Lucky? I'm good. I'm gonna say I'm good, but man, in between the like eclipses lately. Like there was the lunar eclipse, and then today was the solar eclipse. And I know it's not just me, so everybody was being affected. My sleep got all messed up. My schedule was getting all messed up. On top of prime time in my life for certain stuff, a lot of extras. So this week was a bit crazy, and I think next week I'm gonna be pretty darn busy. So I'm good, but I'm. It's like every season I do believe that people mentally, emotionally, physically change through every season. And then it's like on the onset of a new season, you gain the awareness of did you change or did you not change? And I'm kind of in that right now. I'm kind of paying attention to myself of my body and my balance and just all areas emotional, mental, physical, everything spiritual that I want to say I am good, but there has been a lot of awareness coming out of the winter into spring, and then the eclipses coming in. Yeah, a lot. So I that's my answer. I'm good. I'm always going to be good. Um, just a lot going on and a lot of awareness. How are you? How are you during the eclipses, Lucky?
Well, unfortunately, I forgot about it because we've had rain and cloudy all day long. So there's been, and I honestly forgot about it because I can't see the sky. So
Okay.
it's just been one of those things. And I've been just, well, I did my taxes today because the last
Yeah.
couple years I had to pay. And I just regretting I was, because nothing really changed. But this year, it looks like I'm going to get a little bit back, which honestly, even $1 back is better than paying. So I think whatever was the problem the last few years, it either got fixed or something. I'm going to not send it in yet. I want to relax and look things over again, but I think I'm in good shape rather than trying to dig
Okay.
through the pocket that, hey, a government, I can't pay right away. Can I do it in installments? Of course, the government's like, as long as they get their money, and of course, a little bit of interest here and there, they don't care. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I hate doing taxes, and I honestly, long story short, it's all because of H&R Block and TurboTax. The
Yeah.
IRS wanted to make it so they send us a bill or a refund every year, and if you didn't have it, you had a problem, then you would file. But TurboTax and H&R Block says no, 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 no. You don't have to do that, and then the IRS is okay. You'll have to make it free. You have to make it free to file, and then if they want something bigger, then they pay. H&R Block, TurboTax, yes, yes, we'll do that. They never did that, and they paid a big fine last year for doing that because they had
Yeah.
10 years to put it in. But that's the thing. You can do your taxes for free, but you have to sign up on the government website, and it's easy as pie. But you have to find it. That's it.
Right. Lucky, so darling, you're still crackling and you're freezing periodically. Um,
Really.
so yeah, I'm going to talk about our taxes for a moment as you kind of, look at some electronic stuff. So yeah, we ended up having to owe the state of Georgia, because my husband's company got bought out about a year and a half ago from a big corporation in Texas. Brad works in Tennessee.
Hmm.
Tennessee does not have any state taxes. So that big corporation, company, what have you, in Texas decided that they were not going to even register a number to take out for Georgia. And we were notified of this. And so we were notified, and I was like, don't worry, babe. Everything will be fine. We'll put some money aside. Well, who's putting money aside in 2025 or 2024 at all right now? Who's able to do that, right? So it was our first time. I once got hit. I should not say that. I once got hit really bad for not having health insurance. Like they took like $1,200 for not having health insurance. Um, and then I got hit the next year for the same thing, what have you, because I kept not having jobs. I would offer it, and Brad and I, when we would call, was a big part of leaving Illinois. When we would call to talk to somebody about maybe getting on state with me, we did not qualify because we made $400 more a year than the cap. A
Uh-huh.
year. Not
Uh-huh.
$400 a month more. I would have bought insurance then. A year to fall into the bracket of being able to get state insurance. So, for a few years, we got hit with that. And then this year, we got hit with the state taxes. But everything kind of balanced out from the federal to the state. We're going to actually receive $70. So I went, that's groovy as long as things balance out. You know, and I know a lot of people out there like, I don't do taxes at all. I don't this, I don't do that. I know a person once that they would just move like every 8 years to run away from student loans, taxes, whatever. They would just keep moving to be lost.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, they know where you are, sweetheart. you know, um, I just kind of see it as, pay Caesar what is Caesar's and move on. Like it's a thing. It's not, it doesn't do anything for, it's not an issue for me, I guess I should say, as it is for other people because I know there's so much more to life. So it's just one of those like, yep, this is what I'm doing this afternoon and then move on, you
Yep.
know. So okay, Lucky,
It's
did
you.
you kind of it's
No, it's you.
me.
Yeah.
I'm
The chat
crackly.
says the chat has said that maybe it's your headphones. That I haven't frozen, but you have frozen a couple times for Seeker, but not for Chloe. So we're just going to ignore it because we don't know what's going on. This could also be
Fascinating.
this could also be the eclipse. Remember, there's electromagnetic things messing around with the
Yes.
eclipse. So we're in different places around the state. So this might be a connection between you and me, but because the internet is from me to StreamYard to YouTube,
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there might
Yeah,
be that
Simone.
individually we might be experiencing issues. It's collectively, it just might be okay. Who
Okay.
knows? We'll only
Okay.
find out if we watch this again, but we're just going to go with it. So let me say hi to everyone. Chloe,
Yes.
thank you for coming. You came at about an hour, well, 40 minutes ago. Chloe arrived. Then Seeker of Truth, an hour and 40 minutes ago too. Welcome. Thank you for coming so early. I saw Grandpa Brian in there. Thank you for coming, Grandpa Brian. And I saw Max Vision was on there too. Thank you for coming, John. And I don't know. That's everyone. Thank you for coming, everyone. If you have any questions, have anything to add, would love it. It's fine. Yeah, it's
You
life
know
is
what?
an adventure.
Yeah, and we appreciate the help, guys. That's why I sat and talked for a minute. Lucky told his story, I told mine. We love and appreciate everyone that was chiming in about what you're receiving on your end. So thank you very much. Yeah, we're just going to keep the ball rolling. Okay, cool. So Lucky, it's probably both of us. It might be the eclipse. I know we're fixing for the next 2 days here, starting tomorrow, to have crazy storms. So who knows? Yeah. Oh, did
Yeah,
you see the thing about the sunbursts? I mean, the sun was bursting like crazy yesterday, causing earthquakes all over in the Orient and all sorts of stuff, man.
yeah. Myanmar had a 7.7 to an 8.2, which hit Thailand, and Thailand had a building that was collapsed. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's yeah. And my wife was like, yeah, it was a government building that controlled finances. Won't
Oh,
you say
man.
anything more than that? So
Yeah, right.
building
Right.
collapsed, and it collapsed from the top down, not from the bottom up, but from the top down, which is very strange for a building to do that. But things happen. I'm not an engineer, but the building that controls finances, that try to make sure that everything's paid up when no money's lost. The building's lost, so all the records are lost. It's a shame. But
Wow.
yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
but
Wow. And I
oh
hope everybody in the chat is doing good. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Good to be with everybody. Good to be with you, Lucky. So I guess we got to repeat again that we're not doctors tonight.
yes, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can talk, yes.
Oh yeah, my microphone was being weird. I showed just what. Yes, we are not doctors. We are not giving any medical advice. We're just talking about information that we have from our life, from our friends and family, from our own experiences, and from things we've read on the internet. Don't trust anything, but take everything with a grain of salt. And maybe we can help somebody. Maybe we can clear up some things about how you feel. A lot of times, personally, when I walk every day, it really does bring up my self-esteem, my mindset. It lowers my anxiety and my stress level. And unfortunately, my job gives me a lot of stress. So I think
Yeah.
maintain anything you can do to maintain a positive mindset will help bring your health into more of an alignment, make things a little bit easier. Um, that's just one of those things which I think, and I experienced myself. And I have read anecdotal evidence where people have had some pretty serious medical issues when they were learned to laugh, watch funny movies, just did
Mm-hmm.
things that brought them up. It helped them heal faster. I mean, my wife, one of her closest friends, was a laughing, happy, jovial person. She was suffering from breast cancer, and she recovered fully. Another friend was just always down. Her breast cancer was less, was just a
Mm.
minor, was a lesser stage. But as time went on, she was so sad, because your body's deformed and stuff like that, and she just couldn't laugh about it, and she ended up succumbing to it. And it's just one of the things. She didn't die from breast cancer, but she died from pneumonia afterwards. So I mean, that's one of the things. Is one of your strongest ways of bringing your immunity up is actually to try to be positive, which even in situations that are really sad, try to bring things up. But again, this is anecdotal evidence, and your experiences might differ.
Yeah, well, Lucky, I think I don't I do believe in today's world. And I'm not even talking 10, 15 years ago. I mean today, 2025. I do believe that more health professionals. Sorry, I paused there. My computer did something. I do believe that more, sorry. I do believe that more health professionals um are talking to their patients about, it's got to be more holistic. Holistic just means the whole being that you're caring for. So it's not just the medical treatments, it's the mind, body, soul, the whole caboodle that we're all living. So I do believe more are stepping into that. Like my mother in law, she just had breast cancer for the second time in life.
Hmm.
And when she had it 30 years ago, horrible situation. They were actually pumping her with the way too much radiation and wrong. They were doing it wrong. Her doctor was such a depressed person that they found his body. He had killed himself
Oof.
while all these women were getting treatment from him because he was like the breast cancer doctor in the area. And it's like he just gave up and just didn't care, and they were doing all these horrible things, and then they find his body. Um, yeah, very weird story. So then now she has it again later in life,
Hmm.
30 years later. She's in her 70s. And now they had such good care, as in not just, surgery wise and medicine wise, but also um, all aftercare. And all the people in her aftercare were talking to her in a holistic way, teaching her, telling her stuff. So it's funny because she, I think she knows who I am, but she doesn't know fully who her daughter in law is, you know. And so we would be on the phone and she's telling me all this stuff she's learning about have a good mindset, this and that, energy. She started talking to me about energy, Lucky, and I was like, oh, this is so awesome,
Mhm.
about how energy can get trapped in the body and whatnot. And I'm thinking, this is great, because she doesn't come from any of that kind of stuff. So from 30 years ago, 20 years ago, it was 2013, I was trying to get doctors to listen to me about I know something is wrong in my body. And I went through 5 of them who dismissed me over, like, well, I finally had my surgery in 2022. So in damn near 10 years, they were all dismissing me, saying, you're too young to have problems. You're too young to have complications. You're too young. And I kept saying, I know something is wrong with my body. It finally took a doctor who will take the quality time to listen to the patient, but also bring in all sorts of questions. The amount of questions this man asked me, the doctor, was remarkable. I mean, no one had ever asked me so many questions as far as doctor wise, so, or medical treatment wise. So I do think that the world is shifting into understanding more about energy, understanding more about the mindset, about how, yes, your mind makes a very big difference in forms of becoming ill or in healing and recovery, both, right? How do you
Mhm.
think that? Do you think, have you witnessed that there has been a bit, I mean, it's not like this great shift, but like a little bit of an induced, more holistic approach to things?
Yes, the medical facility, it's not a hospital, whatever. The group, medical group that I go to, it has changed dramatically over the past 10 years. When I first went, I was having something that it was probably job related, but I just could not get rid of this constant flu-like symptoms. I felt run down for months, and the doctor just there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. And it took like 3 months of
Hmm.
just finally it resolved itself, but it resolved itself slowly. But the symptoms, I still had some of the symptoms of flu, but you know, it just lasted forever. And recently, sitting down with the same doctor now, she listens, she talks to me. She says, and we were talking through some things that my body was going through some issues, and what was it? Just things. Last year, I fell on my face, passed out, and
Yeah.
she was still concerned about that. But she was like,
Mm.
"We don't see anything." But if her idea was not, "There's nothing wrong with you. Let's see we can capture here. Although we can't find anything, maybe if we keep things, monitor
Yeah.
things, maybe we'll find something." But otherwise, she was very supportive. We talked. The vitamins I'm taking, the work I'm doing, the walking I'm doing, the talking, with her, it was much more holistic. While, well, maybe not even 10 years, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, it was very much like get me in and get me out. It was very,
Yes. Yep.
also, after the appointment, I saw the same place. I have an eye doctor, and I have my my primary care. I have another person. Was a Beck from last year. Was I don't know, another doctor. The eye doctor afterward, they asked how everyone's treated me, and they were fantastic. And they asked, how everything. And they went through all these questions about making sure that I felt heard, which was not what I experienced 6 years ago.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
also the it was another it was a head doctor from a year ago, like physical, cranium
Mm-hmm.
physical. they still looked over my information from basically from last year to today, and they just want to know how everything's going. When, again, I didn't see them. They were just looking over things and want to know how, basically it was following up from a year ago, which I would never expected. But again, it's rather than the hospital seeing you see one doctor, you kind of see the whole group of them. And even though you might not see them individually, they'll still look at things over quickly and say, okay, maybe we can catch something early.
Right.
How is this patient doing?
I think, but I do have to say, lucky for me too, and not just myself. Maybe it depends on like if you set this appointment months in advance, opposed to like a clinic type situation, because every time I have to go to a clinic situation, they want to argue with me about my body. Or if it's a real big doctor's office that's pretty busy or whatnot, the one thing that's kind of frustrating, I think the younger doctors do this. Because I've had some younger doctors that are definitely younger than me. They ask me questions, though, that it's like, you're kind of insulting my intelligence now, kid. Like I know my body. So I think maybe there's a difference in like the reason why you're there, location, and definitely probably also what kind of insurance you have. But I think even still, people, regardless of maybe the doctors, kind of going back to what you were saying, Lucky, I think even more just general population is understanding that a healthy mindset does change the circumstances. It's mind over matter. It's all is mind, you
Yeah.
know. I do believe that some, and I apologize, this should all have been off. All those dings, if you're hearing them, people.
No,
I
no
do
dings.
believe we're not hearing them. Good. Okay, they're distracting to me. I do believe that there's, I think there's different kinds of people. So for me, I'm in this category that I might be in physical pain. I might know that there's something wrong, but I just keep going and pushing and going. Like, yeah, I'll get to it. Yeah, I'll get to it. Yeah, I just keep, which I'm not saying is the right thing to do. I am definitely not saying that. Um, then I think there's the bracket that on the other side that are going to doctors for like absolutely nothing's wrong with them. My sister's that. So like in my family, it's like my sister's that hypochondriac, and I'm the one that it's very hard to even get me to even remember to take an Advil if I need it, you
Mhm.
know. Um, and then I think there's some that, especially in the woo woo community, there are a lot of people. There's like then two other extremes. There's people that ride solely on medical advice and only medical advice is good. And then there's that other pocket in the woo woo community that is like, nope, I stay away from doctors entirely. We don't need them. It's all holistic, herbs, energy healing. That's going to do everything for me. I meet very few that are like walking that middle line. I do have some in my life, but very few. So it's like you have these extremes,
Mhm.
either hypercontract or one that just avoids and keeps pushing, or in the woo woo community, they're absolutely against using any doctors, or those who strongly are adamant that science is right. So I think it should be that middle ground. Do you think that?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I was talking to my doctor about, because I take a few vitamins, but I also rotate them. And we were talking about that I don't, take the exact same vitamins every day. I just rotate them because I feel like it's a little bit too much. And of course,
Mm,
the better idea is not taking vitamins at all, but to eat healthy food. But in the current environment we kind of currently have,
yeah,
getting the right
hard to get.
nutrition from the food you get is
Mm,
something troublesome. But we're talking about that, and my doctor listened to everything and said, "You're right. You don't need a multivitamin every day if you take these over the course, because your body will store some of it. Others, we're
mm,
talking about the different vitamins. Some will flush out your body, some will store in your body, but." The problem is it's just easier for the doctors to say, yeah, take this vitamin every day because that way people will remember. But the problem is
Right.
they'll get some of those vitamins will store in your fat, and you'll build up, and then you'll have other problems. So it's exactly the middle ground. Another one is drinking alcohol or the other medicines that we self medicate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is not good to drink alcohol, but drinking in moderation is a healthy thing. They know that alcohol
Mm-hmm.
in moderation is good for your system, but again, moderation. It's easy to say because
Well,
alcohol in high levels is bad for you, and it's just easy to say, yeah, don't do it, don't do it at all, because people just can't do moderation.
do you think, Lucky, like with that, alcohol, marijuana,
Yes.
shrooms, mushrooms, do you think that why they're actually in moderation good for us is because of like that release of stress and tension? The letting go of the anxieties that people might hold. The reason I'm asking is so this past week I was having serious back issues.
Hmm.
It's because I was, tearing up red clay with my hands the few days before. Shouldn't have been doing it. Um, so for about 2 nights, I took THC gummies to let my muscles relax, release some of the pain, just be, feel okay for a moment. I wonder if that is a part of not just for physical pain, but the mental aspect of, hey, yeah, if you get a little tipsy once in a while and have a good time, not a problem. If you get a little bit of this and have a good time, not a problem. To release that anxiety, release that stress, because we need to. But once again, well, first, do you think that that's a part of that, or if that is the case?
I agree 100%. There was a time when I was taking the gummies every day to sleep, and eventually it didn't work anymore. The THC was not working for me. And I got to talk to my doctor about that I was taking it, but then I stopped for 2 weeks. By the time I saw my doctor, I'd stopped completely for 2 weeks because I wasn't sleeping. And, I was just getting high and just, and sleeping for 2 hours, waking up and then nothing, and we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about that. And she says, well, you're not addicted because you've gone off for 2 weeks. And I'm like, yeah, well, it wasn't working. And why would I keep upping the dose? Because it was, we're talking about that. And she says, yeah. And that's the thing. Moderation, you need to cycle your body, because if you do the same thing over and over again, it just becomes a habit and your body just builds up an immunity and everything gets in a mess. But once you take it once in a while, you get that release, you get that bang, you get that
Yeah.
once in a while. Like for me, on the weekends, I'll have a beer or two, again, to relax and to release. But again, I have a beer or two, but no more than that, because again,
Right.
I don't want to be drunk. I just
Right.
being drunk feels great for a few hours, but then the next morning it is horrible.
Yeah. Oh,
My whole
lucky. I've
body.
already I've already been thinking about how I have a big 4th of July barbecue, which is on a Friday this year, and I was like,
Oh,
"Oh, I'm going to be in such bad shape that Saturday when Lucky and I do our show." I'm going to be I was already thinking that cuz it's like the one day that yeah, I throw down, man. I throw down like I used to throw down. And then I don't at all through the rest of the time, but that is the day that I am free to throw down and drink whatever the hell I want.
but that's the release, and as long as you have
Yeah.
the time for having the fun, going, crazy. There was a term we used to call that, my friends and I, but going crazy for a weekend or two, even a week, we've done that. But there's a time
Yes.
when you just
Yeah.
stop for a while and let your body heal and clear out, and
Yeah.
the best thing you can do is, water. Yeah, drinking water
Yeah.
is an amazing thing, which is one of the things about, I was thinking also about McDonald's. McDonald's is horrible
Mm.
food. It is terrible, disgusting
I
food.
can't eat it. It makes me sick.
But
Like I
some
literally,
people,
yeah.
yeah. But once in a while, when you're driving, you have no other options, and you
Yeah.
think, oh, I don't want to eat this garbage. What am I going to do? There's a time when you just have to, okay, I need the food. It's not great. So you eat the McDonald's, but
Mm.
rather than getting the soda, you get water. You
Right.
find something to at least do something in it. So yes, McDonald's isn't healthy,
Yeah.
but you do need food in your body. So it's all about moderation, trying to find a way to balance.
Yeah.
It's
Whatever
absolute. Yep.
McDonald's puts in their food to keep us craving it, I think whatever that chemical is, that I think is what makes me sick. I used to not be that way, and then I cut McDonald's out of my life for like 3 years. And then it was like, oh, wow, I haven't had a Big Mac in a while. Horribly sick. Like, I can't do it. And then I tried periodically to be like, was that just a fluke? No, it's whatever. But see, here's a so if we're saying that maybe these extracurricular activities helps kind of relieve the stress, relieve the anxiety, let us, hang loose, have fun, be jolly and merry, then we're using an outside influence to help us get to that mindset that I think you and I are trying to say, if we can maybe get to even half of that kind of mindset in our waking life, that would improve our health. And
Mhm.
Lucky, I think right now, see, so we just got out of Pisces season. We're recording this live on in the end of March 2025. We just got out of Pisces season, and Pisces season is always going to help us humans become aware of, like, hey, what's going on with that body of yours, internally and externally? Where's the aching and creaking and cracking? What are you feeling inside? Are you too tired? What is going on? Pisces season will always do that. And then we have Aries right after that, which is that little fire that will, put some fire under our butts to do something about it. And I think, Lucky, the biggest thing is the mindset. You know, it wasn't it Bruce Bruce Lee who like ended up telling the world that don't tell yourself that you're sick. Say that you're healing.
Mhm.
Words are powerful. I think that Bruce Lee was the one that kind of brought that to the Western world, and mainstream, I should say. Um, and it's true. It's very true. Mindset is very, very powerful. And I think it's because of all his energy.
Mhm.
If we could make that happen with, in our, at work, in our walking life, in our daily living, how do you, Lucky, I know work is difficult and very stressful for you.
Mhm.
And you work third shift, man, which is so difficult on the human body and existence. I mean, we're not vampires.
Mhm.
Um, that what do you do other than maybe walking in the woods? Like, how do you handle it when you're at work to try to maybe flip it into like, okay, I can do this. I can, change my mindset.
It's constant. Honestly, it's the coworkers, the people who rely on me directly, the night shift people. Positive. We always try to be positive about things. We always work
Yeah.
together. It's we have an issue here, and it's like, okay, what can I do to help? Let's talk this through. It's never about. And the problem is, I've been talking to the days shift about that. It's whenever there's an issue, they're always looking to blame someone. They're looking who's at fault for this. And I told them that's how you lose information because people are not want to go admit something when you're going to look for blame. Otherwise, you say a mistake was made. How can we avoid this in the future? Let's work together. What happened? It's not about finding blame. It's about getting the whole picture. And that's why when I work with people, it's always free flow of information. Nothing is hidden.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that makes my nights much better. And I talked to the boss about it, and he was annoyed about some situation or something. And it impacted the night shift. It basically, something was
Oh,
happening in the
okay.
first shift that they hid and they hid. In the third shift, it became out, in the open. So he was looking for what did the third shift do wrong, and I said to him, they did nothing wrong, and I can prove it. And I sat down and I
Mm.
explained, and I did everything. And the whole time he was quiet, and he goes, "Yeah, you presented everything straightforward, backwards and forward." And I have nothing to say. And then said, okay, have a good night, and shut it off.
Yeah.
So I literally turned him from coming to me to ask me how I let this mistake to go on when I proved to him that the mistake was done on the first shift and hidden.
Was
Yeah, it was hidden during the day, and it came to third shift, showed it to me. We worked our way through, and rather than saying this person was to blame on the first shift, I said, "Here's the situation. Here's what brought it, caused it, and here's how we fixed it." And it was, a whole package. And I'm always about trying to find a whole package. And
yeah, and you have it
honestly,
all in your emails, right? Like you
oh,
have all of this. Yeah, that's how you
which is
got to roll. Yeah.
which really, honestly, my emails upset a lot of people because
Yeah.
emails cannot be deleted. If something is written in Teams, it's a chat function, so you can edit that. So that doesn't count. And they want everything to be word of mouth, face to face, and chat. And I said,
Yeah.
I don't work like that. I want a
Yeah.
record because
Yeah.
I have been bitten before where they say to me, "Well, that's not what you said at all." So now I have the email with everything numbered in bullet points, and
Yeah.
this is what happened, and everything is cut and dry, and there's no denying that I have all the information there. They can't deny that I can't, and they love using spreadsheets that they edit, while email, they can't change the email. It's a permanent record, and they hate that. And they
Yeah.
asked me to stop doing that, and I said, when you stop lying, I'll stop with the emails. I won't need to write my emails if you guys stop lying. And they go, it's not lying. It's not lying. Okay. I said, then you're misrepresenting the truth. And honestly, the people I work with directly on the night shift make my life easier. It's the
So
other people
it's
during the
the
day.
community around you helps support a healthy mindset. That's a big thing, man. That's a huge thing. I talk to a lot of partners, well, at least one end of the partner, one side of the partnership. And that is actually a very tricky subject because oftentimes you'll have one partner, one of the pair that starts delving into their spirituality first,
Oh, yeah.
delving into these things, and then, ooh, pardon me, they don't feel like they have community. They don't feel like they have partnership. They don't feel like they have this to, they feel like they're being pulled down,
Mhm.
but nobody pulls you down. It's hard to teach somebody that when there's a partner that they live with. So you're saying, like at work, the night shift, we try to support each other. We try to be, attaboy, attagirl, you're doing great. Let's come together and get the night done, make things happen, be positive. How do we handle when we don't feel like we have a community? Like how do we keep our minds at least maybe at least 50 and 50% of the time in a positive place instead of like 70-30? How do we do that?
It honestly, this is going to be really hard for a lot of people to accept, but a lot of times it means listening with compassion, listening with both ears and open mind and open heart. Where a lot of times when you're in a relationship, or let's say a working relationship, where the person you're talking to is negative, they're always looking for, it's not my fault, or, I do everything. I do everything. Why? You have to be able to be there and, you know, figure out how to let them feel they're heard. And they can be the most difficult people who believe they're doing everything, but they're actually just putting half the effort in, because they might be diverting. They might be putting so much effort in the wrong direction. But you have to listen to them and find out, okay, where are they putting their effort? Um, in
Yeah, and they could just be people that are crabby. I mean, just like crabby old men or crabby people that this whole world is going to hell and just burn it up. Just crabby people. They might
in
not be doing anything to directly anyone else, but they're just always such low energy. Nothing is good. They see the bad in everything. We can have, there's tons of partners like that around the world.
Oh, and it's basically you have to let them know that they're being heard, but also not pick up their baggage. There
Right.
is a balance in that, and that's a tough one where you can let someone vent and talk about how shitty work is, or how shitty your life is, how shitty their life is, and tell them there, listen to them, let them vent, but not pick up their baggage. That is very important, where you can listen with compassion and walk away and still leave it on the floor. Because
Yeah.
if that baggage is off of them, it doesn't mean you have to pick it up. You can leave it there and go, yep, it's theirs. Everything's good. That's an important piece of information, where letting someone vent, and of course, you want to fix them sometimes. That's another problem, where someone is venting to you and you want to help them. A lot of times it's just letting them vent, letting them know they're heard, and not giving them a fix. Just
Yeah.
saying, you're right, that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But
Yeah.
not tell them, well, kind of it's your fault. You led yourself into that. You allowed that to happen. You can't do that. You have to say, yes, that sucks. That's terrible. I'm sorry. And leave it, let them have it, and walk away. But yeah, there are people who just, yes, they kind of give themselves that thing. Um,
Yeah. And I think lucky too, like finding other communities. It's oftentimes that when we get in a relationship and it's the one that we're with for the long road, you know, for a very long chunk of time, it's usually like you and that other person. And then you're probably raising kids and you're doing all this stuff. There is a whole bunch of other people out there that you can have quality time with and have a community that your partner doesn't necessarily have to be a part of. Now, does somebody want their partner to be a part of it? Yes. But I think that goes back to like you saying, listen, patience, listen. It's going to be on their own time when they see how your mindset has been changing, and then your energy starts changing, and you're feeling better, and you're out there, rocking and rolling. Well, then they're going to want it too. I mean, we learn by examples. We don't learn by reading, we don't learn by listening, we really get inspired to do the same and experience it. Therefore, that's how we learn. So, I think finding other communities, I think, what do you and your affirmations, buddy? That's like the biggest thing for changing the mindset, and you're the affirmations king. So, what, we got to throw that in the mix, don't we?
well, affirmations are only part of it. You have to make them yours. That's
Mm,
something about affirmations. And I might say these affirmations, but I change them often. I don't remember them word for word. And there's a reason for that. Because if I repeat word for word every time, it doesn't become an
mm-hmm.
affirmation. It just becomes rote memorization. It doesn't mean
Right,
anything. But if you
right.
take an affirmation and you use your mind and you say it from what you remember and you change it each time, make it personal every time.
Yeah,
The
feel
affirmation
it.
has, yeah, you got the power of the affirmation. You have to feel the affirmation, you have to make it feel it for the now. By saying it every day, I do. So there's some affirmations that I do say every day, but I also change the order. I change them up. I change how I see them, how I visualize them, because I'm a very visual person. I see in my head a lot of times. But yeah, you have to make it personal each time. Otherwise, it just becomes just another thing we do every day.
Do you think that that helps with creating a more consistent positive mindset for whatever you're going through? Because healing could be spiritual, mental, physical. We talked a lot about the physical. It could be anything. Do you think that creating these affirmations or truly feeling them, like you're saying, like just say your own words, but say it positive? Do you think that that does help quiet the stinking thinking in the brain and kind of start rewiring things?
Well, it also comes down to when something happens that sucks. It is what it is, sucks. And you think to yourself, okay, everything happens for a reason, which sucks because everything happens for a reason. It becomes one of those rote, things you say, oh, everything happens for a reason. But you say, I'm going to take this and try to make this obstacle an opportunity for me to grow. And you have to take, what can I do with this terrible situation to make my life better? What can I do to learn from this?
Yeah.
And you need to change your mind around. That's the thing, because I get stuck in it. Why is my boss such an idiot? That's another problem. Why is my boss such an idiot? Because a lot of times they do things that don't make any sense at all. That to me, logic speaking, this is stupid. But then I look, this is the information that they have. They must have not have all the picture. So it's my job to be compassionate, political, to put things into nice words to say, okay, this is what I understand, and here's where our issues are, and here's where I think we can go through it and resolve things. It never works, but again, because I put it in email, when the shit hits the fan, I can always go back. Remember when I said that 2 months ago? This might be a good time to utilize this in your own project or plan to make this might make it easier for you to build upon. And it does piss him off, but a lot of times he can use the stuff that I present to them because I have all the information already right there. Because when the shit
Right.
hits the fan, it is what it is. The problem is when it is what it is, I basically told him what was going to happen. It happened, and here's my plan already written for him to say how we can fix it. And there's really not much they can do. And yes, I do have a upper level boss who doesn't like meeting with me because he knows that I'm going to come up with something to make him look silly. And, and unfortunately, the boss above him absolutely adores me, but he doesn't have time to meet with me because I'm a peon on the
Yeah.
bottom.
Yeah.
But he does
Because,
he
yeah.
does he does send me emails saying, yeah, I got a hold of your little thing. It is well thought out. Why didn't you present this to us earlier? And I said, did you see the bottom of the email when it was sent originally? And his response was, oh, okay, some people are going to have to talk to some people about this. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, emails, you can't erase them. There's a trace. So do I feel good? It's shameful. It's vanity. It is a little bit green. It's evil. But yes, do I feel good that my boss is an idiot and I told him what was going to happen, and it happened, and I presented everything, and the director says to me, "Why didn't you tell us sooner?" When I said I did, and here's the evidence. I feel great about that. Unfortunately, it is shameful. I know it's shameful, and I have to deal with that and be better. But sometimes you just have to wallow in the joy of seeing someone else suffer for their own mistakes, and then you let it go.
God.
Then you let it go
God.
because yes, I'm a human being, and I feel good when someone pays the price for being an idiot. And then I move forward, and I go. So yes, why
So
do I
my
still have my job
my
sometimes? I wonder because I have so much dirt on everybody. They're afraid of me.
so my friend, as you know, works in the same kind of field,
Oh
different
yeah,
position, and she would do the same thing though, Lucky.
oh
She
yeah.
would always be notifying him, "Hey, this is going to blow up. This is going to blow up." And I will tell you, sweetheart, that happened maybe 3 or 4 times. And one of them was massive. I
Hmm.
mean, millions of dollars gone.
Hmm.
Massive research gone. And she had always been trying to notify people. What I will tell you is that they didn't care, to the point that she was the only one caring.
Hmm.
And then she started losing her damn mind and had to take off 3 months of work to recover from the fact that they don't care. So I'm just going to say that you can have whatever feelings you're having, but at the end of it, in a couple of weeks, when there's not the recognition and the things that what is right to do is not happening, that's when the true emotions of like holy goodness might present themselves. Like right now you're feeling good because you know, you did a shot. You got them right. In a couple of weeks, when they don't fix the problem,
You gotta let
how
it
are you
go.
going to feel?
You got unfortunately a lot of times, a lot of these things I have to let them go because
Right.
a lot of times is I have a thing where I tell them, I tell you twice. After the second time, I'm not going to tell you again. I've already sent
All
it to you. It's on
right.
your
So
record.
we got a rule. You
It
have
was
boundaries.
it was three times, but I get too stressed out for three times. So I said, I tell
Yeah.
you twice,
Okay.
and it's right there. And I have literally I have a record. This that's a funny thing is that when they say, why didn't you tell us? I have a record. I use email. They can't erase the email. So that's why I can release it and let go when and usually it takes 2 months for things to actually hit the fan,
Yeah.
honestly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
in the moment, I can be shifted around. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why I can't move to the day shift because I've made some day shift people look bad because of the proof that they're not doing their job right and they're not too happy with me. I know for a fact
Right.
that there's someone who
Right.
came to me who apologized, for treating me terribly in the past, and I've already forgotten about it. But
Right.
I said, if I come to you with something, I will tell you twice. I won't
Do
tell
you
you a third
use
time.
do you use that in your outside work life, your daily life, your home life, your friend life? Do you use your if I told you twice, I let it go? Do you use
No,
that?
no, no, no. I
Hmm.
care too much about the people close to me. Work, I can't care
Okay.
about work. Home
Okay.
life, I mean,
The
unfortunately,
reason, sorry, Lucky, the reason I bring it up, because I finish the reason why. I read a meme that a beautiful healer that I know put out today, and it said something along the lines of, I want to see you healthy and happy and doing great. And I support everything that you can do to achieve that. And then at the very end of the meme, it said something along the lines of, but I can't want it more than you.
that's the truth. That is the damn
So
truth.
I
Yes.
just, maybe we can use our boundaries of, I told you two times in all walks of life, maybe.
With that, it's a lot of listening. Um,
Okay.
Telling
Okay.
someone, honestly, and it might not be telling them at all. It might be, um, I feel terrible. Well, maybe you should cut back on the coffee. It might be the coffee. Oh no, I love my coffee. I mean, I get my 7 cups of coffee a day. Well, can you go
Oh,
down to
shit.
3?
Yeah, that sounds like my other half, man.
Yeah,
The
I
amount
mean,
of coffee we go through.
that's the thing. Coffee, it's good in moderation, but when you have too much of it, it'll mess with your emotions, your
You
anxiety will
are
mess.
such a better partner than me, man. You know what I say? I don't even say, like, oh, I'm worried about the coffee you're drinking. I go, do you know how much coffee is right now? Do you know how much coffee we're going through? Do you know how much this shit costs?
Well,
that's how it rolls in this house.
the problem in my house is that I have mushroom coffee, and
Oh
my wife and I,
gosh, really? Yeah.
my I love the mushroom coffee because I like the mushroom more than the coffee.
Yeah.
And my wife made the mistake of stealing my coffee and going to work and calling me coughing because what the hell are you drinking? It tastes like dirt. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's mushroom. That's mushroom coffee. Why the
These are
hell?
mushrooms.
There's no flavor in it. There's no sweetener in it. I literally drink mushroom coffee and sometimes use cocoa powder. No sugar,
Yeah.
the cocoa powder. Um, but yeah, it's not coffee. It tastes like dirt. And fine, I
It
accept
is like
all
that.
that. But also, I drink one a day.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'll do uh, 1 to 2 a day. And honestly, folks who might be listening, thank you everybody for coming. I actually said that to Brad the other night. Like, do you know how much coffee costs now? And we're running through this. I will tell you, Lucky, his response was, well, if you want me to get up and go to work.
Yep.
And I was like, got it. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife is. we have a machine that it's it's not. It is a Keurig, but it's a Keurig that cheats. That it's broken, so it doesn't. Because Keurig, you have to put that special little the capsules
Yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, we have the knockoff. You put your own coffee,
You
Maxwell House,
filter in there. Yeah,
and
yeah,
she's using that because those things are expensive. So
yeah,
we don't
dude.
do that anymore. We do
Yeah.
the Maxwell House, and sometimes even the off-brand Maxwell House.
Our microwave broke.
Oh,
I got up this morning and went to heat something up, and the microwave broke. So today we had to go get a microwave.
mm,
I haven't had to do that in years, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me. And I know there's a lot of homes out there that don't use microwaves, and God bless you. Good for you. This house needs a microwave.
mhm.
Um, I was not expecting it. It's just like we're living in this times that, wow. And so even I'm bringing this up in a way to get to our waking life, our daily life, our partnerships, our communities, our work, our all this stuff, our finances, everything. Well, it adds on to like the ants in the brain. It
Mhm.
adds on to the fears. It adds on to everything. I mean, like when I woke up to actually heat up my coffee, to tell you the truth, and it, no, okay, now I gotta make fresh coffee. Just wasted a whole pot. Um, it's we did fine because we stayed in a mental good place with it. Brad, I told Brad, and Brad was like, "Whoa, can we do that?" And I said, "Yeah, we can do that. We have to do that." And it was so interesting because last night at a cheap discount store down here, they had these beautiful big ceramic pots for like definitely not what you would pay for some. I mean, it was cheap.
Mhm.
And I've been looking at them and looking at them and looking at them, going, "Ooh, I want these pots. Ooh, can I get these pots? I want these pots." But then last night, as I'm sitting there thinking about the garden, inside, outside, all this stuff, I went, "No, Courtney, you have to, you're going to repot all this stuff and you actually have enough pots. You're not buying any pots right now." I made the resolve as in letting go, releasing what I think I would like because it's pretty. Thank goodness I did because I almost bought it yesterday. And this morning I need that money for a microwave. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you've listened to the new April Akashic message yet. Have you listened to it?
Yes,
But
I do.
they start talking about like stop trying to fulfill that lower self.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. And so I think mindsets that step out of any kind of lower self fears or desires or shiny things that we really don't need, that kind of stuff, because that just leads to, it's not true fulfillment. I think that then that can elevate us into sustaining more of a positive mindset for when things really go down. We've all had things physically, mentally, emotionally, either within our home, within our own body, whatever, that if we get in the practice now of letting go of a lot of things, a lot of fears, a lot of insecurities, a lot of desires that are not, needed, they're just some outside influence of fulfillment that doesn't really serve, and we can elevate our higher self in a positive mindset. I think then the more we can practice that, the more that when things do go down, big, small, and different, we're able to handle it.
Yeah, the fear of missing out is a very strong desire,
Yeah, that's
and it
wild,
gets
dude.
it gets in your head, and then you go, "Wait, do I really need this? But I want it. But do I really?" My favorite thing is my phone all week was just being terrible. The screen stopped, and the only way to me to get it to work was to spank it because it's got a loose wire inside of it. And I
Did you
looked
buy
up.
her dinner first? No, I was joking.
It was nuts because I'm like I put the symptoms on Google because Google, thank goodness, said you have a loose wire, and unfortunately, in order to fix that loose wire, it's a couple $100 just to have someone open it up and to put the wire back in again. And it's
Wow.
close. It's close to the price of a new screen. Less than it's three
Right.
hundred dollars for a new screen,
Right.
$200 just to do the work. And I'm like, Okay, and I could buy a new version of my same phone for $400, which is basically a little bit more money. New phone, don't have to.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna break down. I'm gonna get the money. I don't have the money. I'll get the money together. I'll get the new phone.
Right.
And long story short, I was telling my wife this, and my wife has the exact same phone as I do, which is easier because that way I can help her with the phone if I have the same phone. She
Yes.
goes,
Yeah.
"Well, why don't I give you my phone? And when you can buy mine's a 7, you can buy the new 9 and give it to me, and I'll give you the 7 because you like it so much." And I looked at her and said, "No, that's not how it works. Do you know how much a new model, the current model is?" And she
Oh
says,
my
"Yeah, but
goodness.
you buy it, and then I'll have this and you'll have that. You'll be happy." And I'm like, "No, this is not how life works."
That's not how life works. Yeah,
So
we do need things, but I think that concept of, and you just did it. You just said, I'll put the money together. I do need a new phone. Okay. But then if you need to pull back on something else, or you didn't
yeah,
worry about like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Oh my goodness, somebody might be calling me. I still treat my phone like it's hanging on the wall. So, um,
that's the one problem I have with my phone is I can't do that because I need it for work
for
stuff. Because
work.
if I'm at work
Mm,
and I need to sign up the authorized site, it'll
yeah.
send a text through the authorized app. You know, I have to check the number and put the right number in so I can get into that stupid. So I need my phone for work, but my work doesn't buy my phone. Um,
Yeah.
that
And
this
Lucky,
I'm so bad about
sorry, when you said the fear of missing out is so big, you know what's interesting? My mind did not go to like material, tangible objects. My mind went to where's the party at? Because back when I used to party, even if I like shouldn't have been out, there have been no reason for me to go out. If I had a whole bunch of things to do, if I should have been working, it didn't matter. I had such a obsession of what am I going to miss?
it.
What could happen if I'm not out tonight? So I was out every flipping night. And I was like that as a teenager, as a young adult, even even through getting sober. I mean, it took years of me to acknowledge, yeah, you might miss something, Courtney. It's fine. You don't need to be there. You know, that took a long time. And I have a friend right now they've gone through like a divorce. And so they're in a new stage of like, whoo, freedom. And they do have kids, but the freedom yet and still. And they're doing that. I mean, they are out and out and out. And it's that concept of what am I going to miss? Who's out tonight? What I want to feel fun. I wanted this. I wanted that. What am I going to miss? That is such a same with it could be like I know people I've worked in jobs lucky that the person was sick and still went to work because they wanted to actually come for the gossip that was happening. I mean, people's fear, yeah, dude, people's not wanting to miss out, I think is wrapped into also the fear of rejection in some
Oh,
way that
yeah,
we move it around in our brains. That's what it feels like.
definitely, 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 definitely. It's yes, I experienced the same thing where my friends were getting together about a month ago, and it was, I wanted to get there early so I could get out, get see them again. But unfortunately, a lot of the night was talking about the old days, the old stories,
Yeah,
and really,
yeah.
I really didn't miss much. If I came late, it wouldn't have mattered. But I rushed to get there, and
I
it,
that was like a mantra, like a mantra for me for quite a period of time of um you're not going to miss anything. Like I kept saying that, Courtney, you're not going to miss anything. You're not going
oh,
to miss anything. You're not going to miss anything because it's all the same old, anyways. But it was always like you're not going to miss anything. Um, but I get what you're saying. So I never even put that in with like material objects.
I can understand.
But
Yeah.
so I get what you're saying of like people that maybe the consumers that consume, it must be something along those lines of I think that goes in the fear of lack, because fear comes in three things: either rejection, lack, or true survival. And so you get the I don't want to miss out, like, ooh, they have a new phone out there now, ooh, they have this, ooh, they have that. That's a fear of lack. When the fear of like missing out on a, social life, social stuff, whatever, that might be a fear of rejection. Because if I'm not there and I'm not witnessing, I can't be a part of the story, I can't be a part of what's going on. If I do that too often, well, then they'll just drop me like a, dirty rag. So, interesting.
Yeah, that's another thing is that back when I totaled my car and looking for another car, and of course we were looking at newer cars, and I just the tech in them really upset me, and it became to me was getting an older car was my goal, and I'm getting 2014, and then our current car was acting up, and of course the problem with when you look at cars, when you look at anything right now on the internet, you'll get more and more of it to you. So even though you bought a car, you'll still get ads for other cars. And that's when this 2012 came up, and my wife has been complaining about the car we currently have. And so now we're talking. My wife is driving a 2014, and she's saying, "I feel like I'm flying. I don't feel like I'm connected to the road, and I'm
Yeah.
confused." So we're going to trade cars another week and see how she likes the 2012. But the problem with having, which my mother calls them, they're just regular cars. They're just a car that's tall,
Yeah.
and to us it's an SUV. So
Mm-hmm.
my mother's farm, so trucks. And I
Right.
was calling
Yeah, exactly.
my baby SUV a truck, and she
Yes.
goes, "This
Yeah.
isn't a truck. This is just a
No.
car that's on
Not,
stilts."
yeah. Yeah.
So long
I
story
talk
short
just
is,
like your mother. I can't stand when people do that. This is not a truck.
so so all I cared about was just to have something that was dependable with all-wheel drive, and that honestly that was all my thing. And then it became, I don't want all this tech. I can't. And I don't understand anyone who gets a new car, how they can even function. Because how do you drive with all these colorful bells and whistles and everything
Yeah.
around you? And to me,
Yes.
I just want to hear the radio and just low enough so they can drive, and I can see the speedometer, and and maybe I like the little tripometer that tells you how many miles before you need to fill up your gas tank,
Right.
because I will often turn the light with the gas thing on it because you went too low, and um, it becomes because I want to put in the I love putting in the gas treatment every three fill ups, and you have to get low enough. I'm a mess.
Oh, oh, Lucky. I want to say happy Saturday. Grateful to everybody that came out. Grandpa Brian, Big Dad Standing Tall, Scotty Boy, Seeker. I know Chloe was here earlier. Lori. Thank y'all for coming. Yeah, like, because man, I hope people did have fun tonight. We were just kind of chilling back, relaxing. I mean, we kind of had a topic, but it was also just kind of a more of a relaxed conversation, and I think people got to see our personalities a bit more. Um, I don't even want to talk about you going to, you know, that low on your gas. I don't even want to say anything about that. Nobody, don't, people don't do that. Don't do that out there.
The light turns on at 50 miles.
Oh my God.
That's like 3 gallons, or not quite, but it's almost 3 gallons. That's I have a 15-gallon tank. Well, I think it's like a 17-gallon tank, but it's almost a third of a tank there.
You know, you're starting the beginning of every like horror story. And then
Oh,
Lucky
absolutely.
runs out of gas on that on that country county road. No one's
Oh,
around. Knock on wood. You're starting like a scary story,
yeah.
which Should
Yeah,
we tell folks that we are planning on talking about the Matrix towards the end of April? Is that what we were going to be discussing?
yes, that was part of the itinerary that
Yeah,
we really don't follow itineraries very well, but we have them. We have
we
itineraries.
have them.
We've looked at them, we've
Yes.
made them, but following them
Yes.
is because I already told you I was gonna make a Google Doc we both share, but I've never even gone into it yet. I'm gonna look
We
into Google Docs and try to share one with you, and I will
we're
share.
gonna have we're gonna have a couple of episodes about the Matrix, leading into an episode about like thought forms, and then we're gonna lead into towards probably after the first weekend in May, somewhere in May, we're gonna be talking because now I know my mother-in-law is coming. Um, we're going to be talking about the Egregore project of 3 years ago and how we became such best buds.
Yeah,
So,
that's going to be an interesting
mm-hmm.
2 to 4 episodes. I'm not sure how many episodes it's going to be, but it's a lot. There's a lot of information in the Egregore project that we need to share and talk about just to get
Yeah.
through it.
We're gonna do a 3 year reunion, or actually not. It's not a reunion. It's the 3 year
Anniversary. Yeah.
follow up. Yeah, anniversary follow up shows going into detail of all sorts of things with that. And what that'll be good because most people here don't even know how you and I connected. And how I shake my head at you like a little sister that's like, put gas in your car, please.
Oh,
So,
both my cars are full right now. I can say that because it's the weekend. I always fill up on Fridays. I always like a full tank on Fridays.
good, good.
But when it gets low on Thursday, I'm
Well,
like, hey, can I read another day? I think I can read another day. Thursdays are tough for me because I don't want to fill up Thursday and Friday. That'd be crazy.
that'd be crazy. That would be crazy because where are you traveling? That you need to fill up both days.
Well, that's me. There are some. If it was nice out, there'd be a chance I would go someplace to hike. Unfortunately, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
this whole weekend's going to rain, so I'm not going. I did my taxes though. That's the thing. It's rained, and I was sitting there going, I cannot get out. I cannot get up. Not going to get off the computer until I do my taxes, and I didn't want to do the taxes.
Yeah, very proud of you. Very
Yeah, so
proud of you.
I told my
Yeah.
wife, you gonna file them yet? I haven't filed them yet. I have to look at them again because I don't want to get that. I have filed last year and I got a bill saying, yeah, you messed up. They know how much I owe.
See, and now that you did that, that you can just lay that down. It's
True.
done. Let go. Kind of
I
like
think
I told you twice. Finito. Adios. That
yes.
sort of thing. Right? Yes. So, Lucky,
Lucky what? What?
I think I'm going to cut it. I'm cutting it. I still have to go finish making dinner.
Oh, you have okay. We're done. We're done. We're done. So, do you have anything to say to follow up on this adventure we've brought up?
This was such a wild show, but I really liked it because it was very much just us being who we are. Um, to say anything at the end here about mindset, I say listen to your affirmations, Lucky, and I think you're right. When we take in affirmations and we make them our own and we say positive things to ourselves, hand to heart, the moment that, I'm always saying, like, are we in fear or are we in love? Are we in fear or are we in love? But when we identify, oh my goodness, I'm in fear, I'm having fearful thoughts, well, then oftentimes people ask me, how do we change it then? You back it up with an affirmation. You
Mm-hmm.
tell yourself an affirmation. You tell yourself how great you are. You tell yourself, how wonderful things are. Because oftentimes fear is imagination. None of it's really happening in the moment. And so we can always acknowledge it and back it up with all these great positive affirmations. So I think I'm going to try to leave people with pay attention to what you do. Lucky.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I have to do more of it. So that's true. The most important thing is you can do is to listen to yourself, listen to the compassionate part of yourself, and treat yourself with compassion. And I think that's a good point is that sometimes you have to listen to yourself with compassion. And no matter what other people tell you, you have to be compassionate to yourself because, you got to be your best advocate. So that's
Yeah,
important. And a lot of times the fear we have in life are things that aren't there that we made up, that we made worse. So sometimes you
yeah,
have to, when you have the fear, to stop yourself, appreciate yourself for who you are, and then go from there. And hopefully you find a kernel of something to love yourself over and
yeah,
go from there.
yeah. My beloved teacher, my beloved teacher, Sri Ramka, would say everything in life is an opportunity to practice compassion.
That's the truth.
Yeah, for self and others. Yeah,
Yeah,
self and others. Yeah,
that's what we should end it with. Yes,
yeah.
everything is an opportunity to express
Practice
compassion.
compassion.
Practice
Yeah,
compassion is up
yeah,
on us. That's it. All
yeah.
right. Have a great week, everyone. And I'm going to be on Milky Way Soul Tribe tonight in about, I don't know, 45 minutes, hopefully.
Ay,
I
ay,
don't know.
ay.
Yeah, I got an email from Robert asking me, and I always say yes because I'm compassionate, right? All
Because
right.
you're a good guy. Adios, amigo.
All right.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody,
night.
for coming in the chat. I will see you all later. The Akashic messages will be out shortly. Bye,
Yep.
folks.